World Card Game Federation here with a super local match. This is one we haven't had a chance to do, I don't think. This would have been a match between me and, not me, pardon me, my buddy John and my friend Andrew. These guys are going to square off. Now, this is an old matchup, really, when you think about it. You guys remember the heyday of the Cell epoch when he was pre-errata?
Yeah,
and
that's great.
Excuse me, a couple of the big decks out there. Really the only thing showing up at tournaments consistently. We're going to be Tien, Black Perceptive, and Orange Adaptive Yamcha. You guys remember those days? I do. Now, this particular deck that John's using here is actually only freshly introduced to the Fan Z lineup. It's actually not in its final state, and it does end up playing a bit of a part. So Andrew's going to go ahead and get the initiative, open up with a black defensive burst, and that's 4 life cards if it hits, and it would turn off John's physicals, but John does not run a physical deck.
Oh, and we did own this.
Oh god, that game. I can't even call it.
That can't be too much of an issue. John and Andrew have something in common. They are methodical players. They tend to be less instinct motivated, driven than, say, people like me who tend to make mistakes.
Some guy, they made a Sega CD game that was unreleased, but now it's finally leaked, where it's a road trip across the USA, and you have to just sit there and like make sure that you don't go off road, and it's real time.
Yes,
the game that Andrew's discussing here is called Crazy Bus. Desert Bus, Crazy Bus, I forget which one it is going to be Penn and Teller's unreleased non-games that they made.
You gotta drive it the whole way. It's just a desert road by yourself.
If you try to just tape the controller so that it does it for you, eventually you'll go off the road and you'll have to get towed.
And you get towed.
So one of the things I think I found was most interesting about the Yamcha builds, pretty much all of them, and I don't mean, obviously the Yamcha had been something John had used more persistently from back in the day up until now into the modern meta, but it's seen a lot of changes. We were talking about that one though. I don't think Yamcha ever really needed to leave the scene. Okay, and he ends up taking it with 1 endurance off of, I want to say it's Pinpoint Blast? I could be wrong. Or Energy Charge? I forget what that particular one is called. Okay, it's going to go back over to John. John's going to go ahead and most likely open up with his own energy attack as level 1, which I thought was free, but let me see what's he doing.
Have you ever played Pop Full Mail for Sega CD?
Okay, he's opened up with his first shot of Pesky Dodge, or Pesky Barrage, pardon me.
5 or 6.
Pesky Dodge. Feel free to use that name on a future card. Okay, it's going to go ahead and land. A small amount of endurance is hit.
6.
Nice. Solid damage.
Okay, it's Andrew's move. He's going to Tien power. He banishes that 1 physical. All of a sudden, I can't think of the name physical block. That can become an energy block if you destroy cards on top of your life deck in this combat. A fantastic card, which I need to stop undervaluing. I think it does end up in a ton of my builds, and there's just no reason for that. He's going to, of course, grab for the most important card. He's going to grab the Tien's Tri-Beam. You guys know, of course, that Tien here still represents only one of a couple of different decks capable of 1-turn killing or OTKing people. It's pretty impressive.
I dyed in my underwear of red socks. Death with dignity. There you go.
It goes back over
that's
to...
what I always say when I would break into Pete's house. I would have moved just like that. She crashed.
Okay. We were watching Terminator 1 that evening, and we're just laughing about how Arnold, when he beats down the door, and he's supposed to be going to Sarah Connor's house, and she's not there, and he ends up gunning down the wrong people. He just smashes in the door in a very specific fashion. If you've ever seen the movie, you'll know the one, the sort of clumsy, we only had one take way to do it. And I've just made jokes about that's how I break into a friend's house. Okay, second shot of Pesky, doing a 6 damage, a little bit of endurance found. Definitely what I would assume would happen. And it goes back over to Andrew. Andrew's going to go ahead and mill the top for the power. For the cost for Tri-Beam. John's going to mill the top 2, and then it's 4 life cards on the energy. On the hit. Excuse me. He's going to stop it. Wow, a very wise use of Yamcha's Rescue, because you don't want to get looped into that. Well, the thing is, looking at Andrew's hand in terms of sheer number of cards, I haven't actually seen the content. Yeah, there's a good chance he's still holding on to another Tri-Beam or 2. Or means to sort of fish it out like a Defiant Challenge just sitting around. I don't remember this fight as well. I apologize. It took me a very long time to get all of my stuff back together for being able to put up episodes like this. Okay, John's going to open up with, fire off a...
Does it lower his anger too? Yeah.
Orange? I can't think of this in his card. I used it for so long. So raise anger 2, lowers anger 2, and 3 life cards.
1.
So, yeah, well, he could
2.
wick off some damage.
3.
Keep from getting over damaged in combat.
Last time we had a
Battle pausing.
Oh, man.
Good. Battle pausing. John gets 5 stages, and he gets a mother-loving tri-beam back. Fantastic.
Stomped his way to the top. It would have been an unfair, just smear. Nobody actually can deal with Yamcha at this point. No deck is currently made to deal with it.
Not really. Your action.
One of the only issues we ever came across back in New Days was that it did not have a consistent means to level. It seldom needed a consistent means to level, but it still would be very helpful since Yamcha's upper levels have become devastating. So he is going to launch the second shot of Tri-Beam. He's going to go ahead and take the 4 life cards of damage. John's going to wick off a little damage and banishing Oradrill. And then, unfortunately, it gets more to it. John's anger gets lowered again. Andrew gets to raise his on the second shot.
Hideously named Black Annihilation.
Okay, he's going to go ahead and put a card back from Destroy, Black Annihilation. And then it's the second shot here, so we're going to go ahead and resolve all that damage and milling. And one of John's tricks for leveling, Devouring Drill has left. He's going to go ahead and use Battle Pausing. Not Battle Pausing, excuse me. Tien's Prep. So, Mill 2, Mill 2, Rejuve.
Your action.
Okay, John's out of actions, I believe.
You already threw your physical or your energy? You already threw
Maybe
your level
Yamcha yet?
Oh no. Forgot. I keep forgetting that. Sure.
Use his energy.
Is it bar your energy?
Okay, he's going to use level 1 Yamcha energy attack. It's going to land, do a smidge of damage.
And we lost Virtual on sometime.
No, it is not going to do some damage. Well, I'll be darned. How could I forget that you got that block? He's going to go ahead and do some stacking. He's going to go ahead and double check and see what's where.
So I think where it ended up.
That would have been a handy card to draw into, and I don't think John does it in terms of damage. Would be to damage into Yamcha's rescue and be able to end combat.
And then place that one on top.
Okay, he's going to force him to rejuvenate a charge, and then he's going to go ahead and put that card back on top of the effect of this particular one.
Protection on top of mine.
Wow, that is a very fine card to have there. So that means that, there you go, I was going to say he has the one last targeted mill. Okay, he gained some stages. Andrew, I think, forgot to gain stages for the Mastery's effect.
Physical, lets you get some stages for it?
Oh, good, I remember.
Yeah, 4 stages.
Okay, and that was Andrew's action. Goes back to John. I assume John passes. And I don't know what else he's carrying. Oh, a shoulder charge, a Defiant. Oh my gosh, look at this hand.
Defiant Challenge.
So a sweet Defiant Challenge. And you guys know this card.
So,
I've always questioned its usefulness, mostly because there's one exact line of text that shows up in Defiant Challenge. It's where it says a styled attack. Not style, excuse me, a named attack. If it said a search for a named card, I think I would have found myself loving this card, especially feeling a little more balanced being used against me. And here is the mill. He hits a ball 7 and a Black Annihilation. He's going to go ahead and resolve both. He's going to go grab it. The bottom card is discard pile. Place him on the bottom. And then he's going to go ahead and make John mill the 2. He's going to raise his anger, lower. And then another Yamcha's Rescue falls out, which is wonderfully terrible. Nice. And Yamcha's Rescue was found, and combat ends. Yikes. That was a strange way that was going. So he's got a black shoulder charge, which is fine. I'd rather not have to face that myself. Okay, so John's got some did some good powering up there, despite that combat being very draining.
This alley has my favorite piece of guerrilla filmmaking.
And I think John, I don't think he did critical damage during the course of that particular combat. So I don't believe he would have done have been able to pull a drill back. So he's going to go ahead and pass, rejuvenate a gathering. Yeah, Orange Gathering. He's going to go ahead and pass it back over to Andrew. And let's see what in the world John held on to. I didn't even get a look at what he held on to.
I wanted the scene to be there, but it doesn't fit the tone.
It does not at all.
No drills?
He's alone now. Nope. You need to protect him, Sarah. Makes me want to puke.
No, I don't mind that being like, Sarah's problem. In the back of her mind, this is happening. That's fine.
So it's back over to Andrew. Andrew draws his cards. I am definitely talking about reminiscing about my love of the Terminator series. Wax and philosophical over there.
It's all coming from somewhere. So that's what I was telling you. Smoking jacket for real smoking because he really threw acid on it.
I'll enter no effects.
Okay, and then of course there isn't very much reason not to be aggressive with Tien, depending on your slant of your build. He's going to Tien power. Unfortunately, he did banish a prep, but it is neat. He gets targets for like Defiant Challenge and the like. Okay, he is going to go for obviously the most obvious card, a Tri-Beam. Now, I don't remember exactly how the Tri-Beam got back in there. I think it must have been off of one of the Black Annihilations, because to my knowledge, there shouldn't be any Tri-Beams left in the deck besides that one. Okay, John's gonna crack. Ooh, perfectly timed sphere. I was gonna say, like, how does Andrew keep the pain train rolling here? It goes back over to Andrew. Andrew's got a Tri-Beam. He's gonna go ahead and destroy the top, and then he's got two different effects to resolve. Good old double team's gonna go to his hand. He's got to resolve Mischief. I can't think of the name of that card, but the one that lets you stack another one. And he does level off of that first shot of Tien's Tri-Beam, which is really impressive. Okay, John's going to go ahead and take the hit. And he does Yamcha's Rescue on the damage.
What?
And I believe he ended combat again. Alright, combat's over, which is a very wise idea. Again, if I was getting set up to just get pummeled that hard. And I think John drew a strangely identical hand to last combat. For a orange drill deck, John has gotten out exactly 0 of those.
Did they just all fall out?
I can't believe they've made John Connor the bad guy and killed him now. What's up? After you said,
you like how there's no good ideas left?
It almost seems like they're purposely trying to piss people off, though.
There's people who think they can, what do they call it? Being a provocateur is a way to make money. It isn't. It's in real life, it isn't.
I can see that happening. Like,
so it looks like John's not too confident in that particular hand, so he might not be ready to go in. He's going to go ahead and skip another Orange Gathering. I don't know about that, man. I don't went into that hand. At Orange Gathering, I would open up with Orange Gathering, fish out a block, maybe even a Yamcha's Rescue, something fun. And then, yeah, just press my advantage. Andrew's not blocking much. I mean, he blocked a couple of key hits there, but John wasn't throwing a bunch of big swings either.
I read all the comments, I watch all this stuff.
You don't shit on the fans.
Yeah, to where I'm like, literally, here's the logical extension of where this is supposed to go.
Oh, we're just discussing about my go-to in conversation. It's not something I would say while drunk, but it does seem like it is something I would, you know? Like it's natural fodder for that. It's just discussing how if I ever got hired to write G.I. Joe 3, I don't know why that comes up so much. Okay, so Andrew's going to go ahead and do the combat. He's open up with a good old shoulder charge. He's going to go ahead and do the placing, the topping, 2 different cards.
Put that event on top.
Wow. And he's going to go ahead and put these 2 cards.
Physical attack for 3 stages, 1 life.
Wow. He's going to do the physical attack for 3 stages and 1 life. I forget where he's getting the damage buff on that one. Something's going on out there. I'm just looking. Oh, it's level 2 Tien. Hush my mouth, not paying attention to the battlefield. Okay, John's going to go ahead and stop something. I think it was Yamcha's Rescue. It might have been. I don't know what he shuffled back in. The only block I know of is Yamcha's Rescue. But I guess it's safer for it to be back in the deck, because then he can damage it out and end combat if he has to.
That's all good.
And then John's a chance to respond. Let's see what he's got going on here. Responding to the energy attack at least. Okay, he's going to throw another pinpoint blast. I believe that's what that is. Oh, and coincidentally, John's opportunity to even up the odds is completely stunted.
Mastery.
Yeah, he does mastery. And I have the worst name for that card. It's Black Double Team. That's the real name. Okay, then Crushing Beam falls out. Just no fun at all. Then it's John's action again, but what you going to do? John's throwing an Orange Rage just for the anger gain. Okay, bounce off the time. Goes back over to Andrew.
Double team for 6.
Our favorite. You know, John could have thrown his level 1 and then level 1 energy attack and then completely deflected this power of... excuse me, the damage off of double team.
John, have you crit him at all? Have you crit him at all?
Crit your anger.
Oh, I was going to say, because should you be activating the mastery on crits?
No, there's been no crits going on around these parts. It's one of those kind of days.
Wait, no, little tiny stuff.
That first combat, I'm surprised. I think he would have with the pesky. I don't know. Maybe he didn't though.
Go ahead.
Shoulder charge.
And another unmerciful shoulder charge. I assume he's just going to go put another double team to the top. That would be the most logical.
Yeah. For me.
Alright, Tien's Tri-Beam.
3 sages, 1 life.
Okay, does get hit by it. And I believe he's going to go ahead and rejuvenate. There we go. Target rejuvenation on the hit. There we go. He was planning on the prep getting rejuvenated for the draw. Makes sense to me.
Tri-beam.
Goodness. Tell you one thing that we never had back in the day is even though some newer cards like Tien Solar Flare and things like that have come into the mix, and Black Mischief, for instance, come into the mix, I'll put it out there. Really, really, when it comes down to this particular Tien build, it's familiarity. It's working and playing the odds to bring the out the best in the deck.
Got it if you look.
And then, okay, he's going to go and resolve second shot, a good old Tri-Beam, getting blasted into oblivion over there. Deck looking a little thin.
So when I played this Tien deck, these perfect combos never happened. I had to scrap and scrape for everything.
Yeah, we were talking about that back in the olden times. I had a Tien build, not this well tuned as this one, but I had one. And I remember thinking back then, it's like, I don't know how you people make the magic happen with this deck. That time and time again, I keep coming up a couple attacks short, a couple of key hits blocked, and I just never had the efficiency, never had the effectiveness. And I believe combat's going to end. I think John's checking to see where all of his rescues are, or the likelihood of a rescue falling out. That's not very good. I didn't catch any that fell out, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Your combat.
Okay, so that's going to be that. Yeah, it's John's turn. Sadly, every single thing in his deck.
That's why you didn't shoot him in half. I was wondering, I was like, wait, you were supposed to kill him. There was about 20 life cards of damage in your hand.
Oh, that's what happened during that particular combat. He ended up with all the damage in the world in his fist, but no way to hit him with time doing its dirty work. There's not really a lot of incentive not to go into combat if he even has a mediocre hand.
What's that? Answer.
Yeah.
Alright, John does enter combat. And let's see if a sphere, a tri-beam, or a, what did we just say? A sphere, a tri-beam, or a, I can't think of the word all of a sudden. Somehow it doesn't end up in this. Oh, that's right. A sphere, time, or a tri-beam doesn't end up in this. End up in his hand.
Tongue.
Ah! It's like the time I fought Supreme Kai ages ago in one of our tournaments. He put time up into his hand every combat for about 4 or 5 combats in a row. So I ended up having a situation where I ended up having Deborah, red Ruthless Deborah. I had Death in my hands. Oh, he's resolving Black Mischief. He's going to go and rearrange a top 5, banish the top card of the player's life deck. I had Death in my hand, something like the ability to have something like 9, 10 actions. And I had murder in my eyes. I'm frothing at the mouth with rage. Okay, he banishes. Looks like I can't think of the name of it. All of a sudden, it's been too long. I know it was a staple of the Yamcha deck back in the day. Okay, John's going to go ahead and respond with... There you go. Crit for Orange Launcher. Mastery is triggered, which is neat. But fat lot of good it does. This is late in the game. He's going to mill. Solar Flare goes back to the bottom. John's Crushing Beam falls out. Yeah, Tien's already at full power.
Yamcha. What are you going to do then?
Buzz.
Wow, they pass. Have a very uneventful match. That time completely swinging that whole thing. Playful Punch is the name of that card. Look right at it. And I believe I just saw Andrew draw a sphere. And John's got to go ahead and resolve the Mastery. Though, again, this would have been helpful about 4 turns ago. Hiding Drill would have been very nice about 10 turns ago.
Cards and deck.
Not enough. I wonder if Andrew's plan here is just to enter combat and then force John to draw out.
Double team for 6 -2 4 life.
And I gotta admit, John has drawn virtually no blocks this whole game. Almost every single thing. Oh, look at this. A whole anger shows up with orange refocus or orange focus. And then he's gonna go ahead and grab some of this. I don't know what I would pull out at this point. Something that would give me longevity. I don't know if Checkup Drill's still in this deck or if it was ever in this build. Really should have been, but that would be my target. Gee, I don't even know what I would grab at this level. It's late enough. Provided Andrew doesn't keep drawing blocks or time. Yeah, so John has a chance to respond here. I don't know what he's going to use. Pay some stages.
Oh, and you don't get the the drill on it. It's like it's your energy combat cards.
Okay, John's gonna go and fire off an orange charge, I believe that's called, or recharge. I don't remember. It's one of the newer cards. I didn't get to use a ton of those in the newest orange. It is a little silly. Okay, so John's going to go ahead and throw that attack and attach it. It's going to get the damage boost and the reduction. And John should have raised his anger and gained some stages off the hit on that one.
Mastery. Just read it out.
Oh, no! So John's going to take a really devastating late game hit. This really stinks. Okay, orange fierce attack goes off. And this one really, really should hurt Andrew pretty deeply if he doesn't stop it, because it's a decent-sized swing, and it will raise his anger 3, and John would level off this one. There it goes, 6, no endurance. And then on the hit, John should be leveled. He should have gotten the extra from the 2 on the hit from the anger from, yeah, uh-oh.
So that's going off. And then you should have gotten 2 anger from it and 1 from the drill, so shouldn't you have 3 anger and just level?
There he goes, and his drills don't move. He's level 2. His attached card remains. He is level 2. Okay, phew. Thought for a minute we didn't catch that. That would have been not very nice.
Defiant Challenge.
Ah, our favorite. So, what is it? Hot Dog Water. Defiant Challenge shows up and gives us a chance to remind ourselves how much we hate this. So he's going to go ahead and grab this one from the Banish Zone, his name card, and then he's going to go ahead and search. And I assume it's going to be Tri-Beam, and I assume it's going to end the moment he throws it, because it's going to force John to mill out his last 2 cards. It wasn't that there wasn't a fight here, folks. It was just more like the luck of the Irish was on good old Tien's side today.
That time actually saved the whole game for you.
Which one?
The one where you
I
had
just
about...
mean it's BS that it was 2 in a row.
It had about 20 life cards of damage he had in his hand.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking about how this game would have come down to a razor's edge if that wasn't for that first use of time.
Ooh, did that happen twice? Is that what I saw?
2 combats in a row, yeah.
Okay, so he's going to throw Orange Eruption at him, and that's going to raise his anger 2 levels. And sadly, that is the last move that he can do, because I believe level 2 Yamcha's power isn't when entering.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, then he's going to go ahead and throw Tri-Beam, and the game, she is over.
Rematch.
Somewhat of a slower paced match. Both guys getting back into it. Excellent effort on Yamcha's. Falling matches definitely were not as one-sided.